here, people in the Midlands and north of England have been warned that they could face more flooding this week as many try to clean up the devastating after effects of Storm Babet. Hundreds of homes were flooded over the weekend following record-breaking levels of rainfall. And today, police recovered the body of a man who became trapped inside his vehicle in Aberdeenshire, the seventh person to die from the storm. Well, in a moment, we will hear from Lynn Rankin, who's in Brechin in North East Scotland. But first, let's go to Ellie Pitt, who's in Retford in Nottinghamshire. Ellie.
Tonight is the second of what the residents here in Retford are expecting to be many nights not sleeping in their own beds, in their own homes because of the flooding. Today was an opportunity to express some of their frustration as the Environment Secretary visited. They say they didn't have enough warning about the flooding and that they weren't given any sandbags in advance. Some of them have resorted to making their own. The flood waters have receded a little bit while today has been dry, but with rain forecast overnight, they don't know what tomorrow will bring. The River Idle in Nottinghamshire broke its own height records this weekend and reached a higher level in Retford than during the last major flood in 2007. And until it drops, the muddy water filling these back gardens has nowhere to go. The flooding on this street brought it to the attention of the Environment Secretary, who visited today.
We just left again.
When frustrated residents told her they hadn't had enough help preparing for Storm Babet and don't want to face the clear-up alone.
It's all on us. We want it all on you now. You've got to do it.
We've invested £2.6 billion in flood defences right across the country. That was over 300,000 homes. We're partway through a programme of spending a further £5.2 billion over a 6-year time period. Now, I'm conscious that doesn't matter to them because their homes are being flooded today.
And after the politicians had left, their words had done little to comfort Lucy.
We're deflated, furious. There's every emotion that you can possibly think of going on.
Across the country, there are homes being cleared out in the wake of Storm Babet, whose impact is being felt from Scotland to here in South Yorkshire. In Nottinghamshire, flooding remains in the forecast for the rest of the week, and the Met Office have issued a weather warning for more rain tomorrow, which will mean more water for the residents in Retford to contend with.
It got to this level at about 6 o'clock on Saturday. And then just from then, it just kept coming and coming and coming. I was heartbroken when I opened that shed because everything is floating. You've got tools, all sorts that's floating in there. I've got my little lad's toy car that's fully submerged. It's going to be months to dry that out. Then it's the repairs, so it's just like Christmas ruin for us.
The storm may have passed, but the flooding is stagnant. And even when the water has receded, there are hundreds of homes facing many months of disruption ahead. Ellie Pitt, ITV News, Retford.
Scotland's First Minister has said it will be a long road to recovery for residents hit by flooding in the county of Angus. He was visiting Brechin, where the South Esk burst its banks, and Lynn Rankin is there for us this evening. Lynn.
Yes, this was part of Brechin's flood defence, but it was washed away by the sheer force of the river on Friday morning. It's not the first time this town has been flooded. In fact, many people can't get insurance here as a result. Now, Scotland's First Minister visited the town this morning and spoke to many residents who have lost everything. He also thanked members of the emergency services who helped rescue people from their homes. Now, I've spoken to many residents affected today. One woman told me this is the 4th time she's been flooded in 20 years living on this street, and she says this has been by far the worst, and she doesn't expect to be back in her home for a year. And today, more tragic news as the 5th person died due to Storm Babet. A major search was launched on Friday in Marykirk in Aberdeenshire after a man was trapped inside his vehicle in floodwater. Today, police confirmed they'd found his body.
Lynn Rankin in Brechin, thank you. Well, Becky's here with us in the studio, and there are warnings of more floods, more bad weather to come.
That's right. There's definitely going to be more rain to come, but it is worth pointing out that it's not going to be as torrential as what we've already seen. Just look at the totals that have been recorded over the last few days. It's absolutely extraordinary. Perth, of course, there, 203.6 millimetres. It goes without saying this is more than a month's worth of rain in just a few days. Interestingly, though, although eastern Scotland has been the worst hit, their floods went up and then started to recede reasonably quickly. It's called fast responding, with rivers basically they're closer to the coast and they're more used to it. Further south, though, and south-east, this really has been, although less hard hit from a rainfall total point of view, it really is quite a serious situation there for quite some time to come, because not only have they their own rain, they've also got the runoff of the Pennines as well and land further west of them. And the story is really told when we have a look at the flood warning situation. We've got over 100 flood warnings in force. All but one of these is in England. One of them is in Wales. But as you see, the main story is across the flood warnings in England. And there definitely is more typically autumnal weather to come over the next few days. Now, normally the sort of weather that we'd be looking at really wouldn't be kind of headline news. But the fact that it's so unsettled and that there's more rain on the cards, as I say, just sort of normal rain for the time of year is only going to exacerbate the situation. We've still got more in the way of those low pressure systems moving in, bringing in a fair amount of rain at times. Really, there's not going to be any respite on the cards for a while. So let's have a look at the weather warning situation. There is one that's in force across Wales for a time, just for the next few hours, and then through tomorrow we do have a warning in force around one of our worst hit areas. So definitely we are expecting it to be a continuation of this really serious situation, and there's no respite in force until Wednesday.
OK, Becky, thank you. We'll hear more from you later.